Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Earth 39 podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Munter. With me today is my very special guest. You know him as Jonah Drip. How are you today, Mr. Jonah?
I'm good. How are you? That's my job.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you
All
for
right.
the lovely introduction, Jeff. But I'm supposed to be doing that around here, not you.
All right, go ahead. Please, by all means, go ahead.
All right. So we're recording this on Revenge of the 5th, which, I mean, perfect for us. Because, that's how I met you. But,
Yeah.
that's how you, found my videos. It's through all my Revenge of the Sith content.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, kind of give you a little context, that was still around the time when I thought TikTok was just wannabe Vine. So I knew nothing going into it. And then I'm like, there's a Star Wars community?
Yeah, now you're I definitely consider you, if not the TikTok Han Solo, one of the TikTok Han Solos. Also,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a little better than me. But I appreciate that.
But also, Han, is it Han Williams or is it Ash Solo?
It's Han Williams. So
Han Williams?
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't seen that, what happened was I was watching The Evil Dead 2, and for those who haven't seen them, very good, but also very dark, and the idea popped in my head, so I went in my closet and I found that I had the perfect blue button up, I had a black vest, and I had like a lightsaber and a Nerf gun, and I just threw it all together and made a couple of them, and now it's something that doesn't get me a lot of clout, but it's something I really enjoy.
That, even though it doesn't get you a lot of clout, that's my favorite one. Because, I love the lightsaber hand. The lightsaber hand's just a great add-on. It just looks great.
That.
And it just looks good, too. And it's sturdy. And it's easy, you know? And then also, it's just I love, did you ever read the DC Marvel Amalgam comics?
I read about as much as I weld.
I don't know. I don't know how much you weld.
I've welded once in my life, and I've read more times than that. But the point is, I don't read very much.
Okay. Well, it was a comic book, so I wouldn't say I read very much, but I read comic books, which is a little different, I guess. But it was when the DC and Marvel characters, they went against each other, and I want to say the 80s, and then at the very big end of the event thing was that the universe combined. They created all these crazy hybrid characters, like Iron Lantern. That was a real thing.
I could totally see Stan Lee and what's his name who created Batman, Bob Kane, sitting in a room being with too much whiskey, you know what we gotta do? We gotta make the Joker fight Red Skull, and he's gotta be hey, F you Nazis, which then it eventually ended up being that's what actually happened.
Yeah. They were dude, I want to try and find a digital copy of this for you because you gotta read. It's awesome. It's exactly what you imagined. Captain America and Batman fight.
I can see that.
Yeah, but no one wins. They both something happens where Batman gets taken out of battle, but it's not something Cap does. And then Cap goes to save him instead of letting him die. So then they have shared respect. But the coolest one, and I'll stop talking about this after this, is Dark Claw. He's a mix of Wolverine and Batman.
Oh, I could totally picture him being I'm Batman, bub.
Yeah.
Oh,
big cigar on Batman, bub.
I still got to watch all the X-Men movies. I haven't seen Apocalypse, The Wolverine, and I need to rewatch Logan.
Oh, I want to watch Logan in the black and white version. I never got to watch that.
There's a black and white version?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about black and white, but recently, have you ever seen a Raging Bull?
I have. I totally did. I had to. Yeah. It was for a film class, and it was either that or The Godfather, and I decided Raging Bull was shorter, so I went with that.
You should watch The Godfather at one point. I fell asleep 3 times during it, but I'm still glad I watched it.
Yeah. I believe that.
Raging Bull is all in black and white. as you know, probably because you saw it. So,
Right.
like, now all of a sudden after that movie, I was like, that was so aesthetically pleasing. I want to go watch more black and white movies. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
If you're looking for a good black and white movie, I don't know if you've seen Schindler's List, but you got to check that one out.
yeah, I gotta see that one.
Like that should be next on your list.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess this episode's not coming out today, like actually today. Like I still have to edit it and everything. But
Sure.
yesterday was the May the 4th thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, you couldn't come, but I did have a question in regards to that. What were you doing lightsaber choreography for?
Okay, so basically how it is for those who don't know, I'm currently in film school, and the way that it was supposed to be was we were all supposed to make a documentary. And so our teacher had like everyone make their own books and get all the locations together and do everything themselves. And people were allowed to use other people, but for the most part, the documentary is for one person.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all that planned out, and I'm planning to do like a little ghost hunt. And then COVID-19 hits, and so we're all stuck inside our homes. So what our teacher did was he said, all right, so we're going to make it so that you can do everything from home. Like you can edit from home, you can film with your families, that sort of thing. And instead of a documentary, just make whatever the hell you want. You can make a documentary, you can make a short film, you could make basically whatever you want. Go do whatever you think you can get done. So what I chose to do was the thing I wanted to do since I was 9 years old, which was a choreographed lightsaber fight. So I got in touch with my best friend Kata, and I said, look, I got to make a film for my class. Do you want to do a choreographed lightsaber fight? And before I even finished talking, she said yes. So we took about, it was about 3 days of choreography. That was about 3 to 5 hours each, give or take. Oh. And we just did a dress rehearsal yesterday with, we were originally going to film yesterday, but the light changed a little bit because it was getting just dark enough. And then when it was dark, you couldn't hardly see anything. So we're going to film it Thursday during the day.
Mm. And so is that the same one that was that like on your story?
Yeah. So that was just the rehearsal. Like that's about half the fight. And there's going to be more stuff intermixed and in between. And I have the full thing saved on my phone, and I synced it. So the one I put on my story, I synced up to Anakin versus Obi-Wan, which is to this day my favorite Star Wars track. But for this one, I sunk it up to 2. The first one I did was Duel of the Fates, because our friend Edgar had said, like, I could totally see this playing in my head. And so I was like, oh, challenge accepted. And so I did, and I sent it to him first. And then I did Anakin versus Obi-Wan, because that's the one I plan on using for the
naturally
film. Right. So that's what that is.
That's awesome. I wasn't sure if you were making like a fan film or what was the deal.
There's really not much of a story to it. It's kind of just like
story.
Yeah, the story is this Jedi is kind of just walking through a parking lot, and a Sith is there who wants to kill him, so he fights back. That's
kind of cool though. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. Did you ever see the lightsaber choreography doohickey on YouTube called Ferocity?
I actually think I did. I might, because I was trying to learn how to do a few lightsaber tricks a while back, so I went in like a huge.
It's a lot harder than it looks. But
dude, when I saw your video on Snapchat, I was so impressed. That was like insane.
Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully,
the fact that you can just move it so fast, like that's the craziest part to me.
Full disclosure, and I was thinking about saying this off the record, but I might as well. We might have sped the footage up a little bit.
Okay, well, it still looks good. Looks good.
It wasn't much.
What?
It wasn't much. Like, it was like 1.25 speed.
Oh, yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But like, for the editing though, that is gonna be. Have you like looked up any tutorials or anything or?
Yeah, and the one I'm gonna go with is where you download what's like a lightsaber template called Saber, and I'm gonna see if I can. Saber. Yeah, I'm going to try to make that work. It's still going to be tedious, but it's easier than the way I was doing before.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that Superman video I did a little bit back?
I do. It was really impressive.
with all the montage and everything, and he looks up with the laser eyes.
Yeah, it
So
was
those
cool.
laser eyes are Saber.
Mm.
Yeah, so you can make like, so you get the, when you open Saber, it's gonna be like obvious. Well, you probably know. I don't want to. Yeah,
I've done no, it's okay, but you can fill it in for the people at home. That what do they
it's
know?
just like you get like a lightsaber rod, like they, like the end of a lightsaber without the metal part.
Mhm.
And then there's a lot of different settings you can control. And if you've ever used, any After Effects or editing software, you'll know you can change it so that there's movement of the blade while you're fighting. Like, like so the blade looks like has energy coursing through it and stuff. It's a really like the whole why it's so cool is because it's a whole new effect created from scratch by like a crowd-funded company. So that
Yeah.
was, but yeah,
It's not easy to do, but I think anyone can do it.
yeah. You just like when I did mine, A, cut it into segments. B, yes. And then B, you gotta sit down for a long period of time and just tell yourself, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
check my phone. Like make a playlist. Make a playlist so you can like get zeroed into. Because lightsabers, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Out of all the editing I've done, that's the hardest.
Yeah. It's a lot of people don't know. It's frame by frame. Like you can't just put it into a program and it'll just track whatever blade you have. You have to do it. You have to move the points every single frame. Otherwise, it's not going to look good. And there's things online that'll make it easier, but
Mhm.
there's no 5-minute way to do it.
Yeah.
It takes
And
work.
and even the thing, have you tried the things online? I've never done though.
Which kind? Other than Saber?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I've seen different ways. I mean, there's Joey, our friend Joey, who
Mm-hmm.
Hux.
Mm-hmm.
He uses Hit Film Express, and I think they have a lot of built-in things that you can use to do lightsabers, and it's like not as much frame by frame.
Well, the way I've done a little bit of research on this, and the ones that are easier don't look the best. So if you want it to look as good as it can, it's going to take work. That's just the thing I've accepted.
And also, especially if you're like if you wanted to, if you just like are jumping into frame with a lightsaber and lip syncing something, that's like it's going to be still the whole time. It's not going to be super hard. So if you want to use an easier method, it might look. But I mean, you're doing like legit. Like, I don't know how many people here have your Snapchat or saw that video who are listening, but like,
Well,
that was like a legit. They were going all over. Like,
I put it on my TikTok not too long ago.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
but I
Oh.
haven't posted the entire fight anywhere just because I've kept that kind of private. But I will send it to you.
Oh. Early sneak preview. None of you guys will ever know though, because.
Anyways, I've been interrupting. Please go ahead.
All I was gonna say was just did you ever get the search bar thing for your TikTok fixed? Where like you can't
No.
search you up? Because I still couldn't find you today when I was trying to look you up.
To this day, I've sent TikTok emails. I've contacted the support center at least 5 times. I've gotten nothing. I've gotten nothing.
That's crazy.
I don't know if they're all like leaving everything to the algorithm or if they just don't care because I'm not big enough, but they are not being helpful.
Yeah. That TikTok's known for like their customer support, not to bite the hand that feeds us, but
yeah,
they can be a little like it's very hard to get TikTok to actually care about your issues unless you're
someone like Charlie D'Amelio or David Dobrik.
Well, like if you become big enough, they offer you to become part of a TikTok creator program. And so when you become part of the TikTok creator program, you get basically like a concierge. They call it a partner manager. It's basically a concierge. So if you like, if your TikTok, if something's going wrong or, there's some issue, you can text them and then they'll talk to the people at TikTok and they'll handle it. It's like a lot of people will say, like, oh, I have contacts at TikTok. That's their in partner manager.
I gotcha.
So usually that's why, is because they have that team of like people who's supposed to report the problems back to people who fix the problems, but they're not paying enough attention to everyone else, literally everyone else.
Yeah. The moral of the story, kids, is don't get famous on TikTok or YouTube or Twitter.
It's so not a good deal. And like, I wouldn't say I'm super famous on TikTok. Like,
I'd say you're more famous than most.
I mean, but it's still not like recommended. I'm writing a short film right now. Well, not a short film. It's going to be like a series on my TikTok account. I might have told you about this. I didn't. I think
so.
this first, I don't know if I told you. This might be the first time I'm talking about it actually on anything like of my accounts, like saying anything about it. But basically I'm writing this Superman series, and it's going to be about a younger Superman, and what if, a baby with those alien powers crash landed on like a rich person's house, not like the Waynes, but like in like people who have like pull, but they're not super rich. And then they're like, oh well, we have this kid right here. He's attractive. He's got superpowers, and so instead of being brought up, the Martha Kent, Pa Kent way, he's thrust into the world of being an influencer. And so it's really mainly about, Superman and how he has to deal with saving the world at the same time as, maintaining
sure
a fan
he has
base.
enough
And also,
clout.
yeah. But I'm trying to look for some good adult act. Like the thing is, like, you're an adult, obviously, but like I need to like find some like people who could look like my parents' actors. That's what I'm trying to find right now. That's the hard thing.
Maybe get in touch with Brandon Armstrong. You two kind of got a resemblance.
Brandon could do it. Like, we get a little bit of makeup. Brandon could do it. I was talking to him yesterday too, because I asked him to be on it, and sadly he couldn't come either. But people have, like, that was short notice, so I get it that people couldn't come.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had do you know the Grayscale? He's a Finn cosplayer.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, you will know one person who was there. Mateo.
I do know Mateo. Mateo's a good guy.
We got him 2 new interviews last night for his thing.
How about that?
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get some cosplayers in here, and we're gonna set something up, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Also, I guess kind of a minor note, no one's gonna hear this, just you, I guess. If anyone's listened to this far, congrats.
I'm not that interesting. They clicked away.
Yeah. They probably that's what I think every time. I'm like, the first 10 minutes are the most important. Yeah. And so that's why I don't do intros anymore of just me talking. I do I just start off with the interview, and then occasionally at the end of every podcast I do a little outro where I talk about like the weekly playlist and everything.
All right, we got sidetracked. You were saying?
Oh yeah. I was just saying that the podcast, this is still going to be our 39, this podcast, this, episodic, but the YouTube channel is not going to be Jake HM anymore. I'm redesigning the logo right, like, currently, and it's going to become Earth 90, and we're going to host all these different creators on, making shows. I may or may not have to possibly talk to a certain someone about doing an extended version of Meme Time, because that is my favorite one.
I am so on board.
Dude, that is like one of my I look forward to Meme Time. Like, if you don't follow Jeff on Snapchat, Meme Time's the move. Like,
I haven't made my Snapchat public, so that might not be that might be why no one's seen it.
But Meme Time, I was even thinking, like, couldn't you do that on TikTok too?
I probably could.
Little 1-minute videos.
Well, yeah, but the thing with my thing always with my Snapchat story is I've never wanted it to be like those people who are just like, oh, I'm at the pool, or here's what I'm eating, or selfie. I always wanted it to be like, if I post something on my story, I want it to be interesting to at least one or more people. Yeah. So one of the things that I came up with was, I completely stole this from Jacksepticeye, but I saw him do Meme Time, and I directly stole his intro that someone made for him. But I was like, you know what? Every Wednesday, I'm going to have 3 memes. I'm going to start with that intro. Yeah, and bonus meme, which I was getting to. But yes. I was just like, I'm going to find 3 memes that I find hilarious, and I'm going to put them on my story. And you just mentioned bonus meme. I added that as kind of like obviously everyone hates being locked inside their homes. There's not really much of a silver lining to it. So I was just like, hey guys, as a way to kind of encourage you staying in your home, what I'm going to do is every Friday and Monday, I'm going to do a bonus meme, and I'm going to do essentially meme time 3 times a week now. And for the most part, people have enjoyed it, but there's some days where I'm just definitely out of it. Like there's some days where I come up with an idea that I think just clicks, and it's like a good theme, or I'm on my A game. And then there's some days where I'm tired, or I'm busy, or I didn't find good enough memes, in my opinion. So it's hit or miss, but I feel like if I had like a full-on show for it, I'd put in like much better effort.
I will talk more specifics about the show at a later date, because I'm just trying to get the schedule. Like once I have all the creators, like, you know, just like have like at least a verbal, like I'm interested from creators, I'm going to set up a like group Zoom, and we're all just going to talk and be like, okay, well, here's the idea I'm thinking of. Here's the day I want to do it. Here's how much time I can get, like, you know, just kind of coordinating. Because what it would be essentially is we'd all get, I mean, I don't know how many people it's going to be yet, so I'm not going to, I can't really give an exact number, but it's all going to be if money ever gets involved, which the channel's still small, so it's obviously a risk, but if money ever gets involved, all the revenue from whoever like everyone gets all the money they're entitled to, regardless. Like,
which is something that's kind of
not
going away.
Huh?
Which is something that's kind of going away, especially with multi-channel networks. So it's really good to hear you say that.
Oh yeah, that's like kind of because like, and also I had to say that to someone earlier because they were like, oh, well, are you going to take a cut of my revenue? And I was like, well, we're not huge yet, so I can't promise much revenue, but if we ever get to that point, then yes, you will get all the money you are entitled to, 100% of your earnings, everything you do, because as long as you're editing and writing and making your own videos, like there's no one else who deserves that money. You're doing 100% of the work on your series. You get 100% of the benefits.
Well, how about that?
That's my philosophy on it. Like that, right?
Yeah, I do like that. It's very noble of you.
Well, I think like I hate, I've been obviously I don't know if you care about like Team 10 or the Hype House, but just growing up as, a teen, I mean, and you probably more Team 10, but like, I've been around all these houses and all these, this BS, and it's just you always see it ending the same way, where it's like, oh, the head of it was taking 10% of everything we made. Oh, like we weren't getting money, like, stuff like that.
Well, I think the most prominent one for me, and I don't know if you heard about this, was Defy Media, who
Warp
Zone. That was criminal. Like Warp Zone, Smosh, Lasercorn, I believe Steam Junkies, or not Stream Junkies? Screen Junkies, right. Like all those people, including MatPat also, they had been lied to. They had like horrible creative direction. They had money stolen from them that added up to be, throughout all of them, it added up to be about $1.7 million taken directly from them. That's disgraceful to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's BS like that. Defy, I remember I'm a huge Warp Zone guy. Do you watch Warp Zone?
How cool would it be if you got them on the podcast?
Huh?
How cool would it be if you got them on the podcast?
So I'm working up the courage to do this, but I'm mutuals with the epic voice guy from Honest Trailers. Ooh. So I'm building up to first off asking him to be on the podcast, because who wouldn't want to hear his voice talk about life for like an hour? Because his voice just sounds great without any of the effects. Yeah. And then him and I have talked about how I'm a huge Warp Zone nerd like 1,000 times. So he knows those guys are all friends. So I'm hoping somehow, I'll get that one day. But the people I really want, like this is most important to me, my YouTube heart. This is like the first ever people I stand, epic rap battles of history.
Ooh.
That's like my goal.
That'd be that's the dream.
Oh yeah. Or I mean Jonah Hill.
Yeah, I was gonna say like mine's a little bigger. Like I want to interview Tarantino.
Oh yeah. I mean Jonah Hill's my number one goal.
Yeah,
My
but that's like the
number one goal is I get to host the Wolf of Wall Street 20th year anniversary, and I get to be in the presence of everyone. So
that would be kind of cool.
Martin, where you at?
Hit this kid up.
But yeah, speaking of YouTube and YouTube stuff, you ever heard of the Gamer from Mars?
I have not heard of the Gamer from Mars.
So I found his channel like literally this week, but he posts all like his content's almost entirely dedicated to stuff from like you and I, like I can tell you and I grew up in a very similar YouTube era. Like, you know, like what happened to Tobuscus? What happened to, do you remember Basherverse? Like the Basherverse drama?
I think I might have seen one of his videos. Did he do one on Grade A Under A?
I think he did.
Then I might have seen one of his videos.
He's made a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, where the hell is that guy?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm used to it. Like I told you, I'm an Epic Rap Battles fan, so they can go away for like 1 to 5 years, like 1 to like 3 years at a time. You just never know.
Yeah.
So, although did you see they did like a Thanos battle recently though?
I think I did hear about that, and they also did Joker versus Pennywise not too long ago.
Joker versus Pennywise was like I think better done in my opinion, because like just the lines were better, and also like you know. The guy, Nice Peter, who did Joker, just his Mark Hamill was on point.
Yeah.
And the guy who did Pennywise, same thing.
Yeah. My favorite to this day, and it's because I saw it at the perfect time. It was just after I started Game of Thrones. I heard the George R.R. Martin versus J.R.R. Tolkien. I thought it was catchy. I thought it was funny. And it's my favorite so far.
I love coming back to them after like years. Like I've watched Game of Thrones this summer, so I'd already seen the one you just talked about. But after I watched Game of Thrones and I had known what happened in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, I went back and watched it, and I had like a new respect for like the little, you know, jokes and everything. And yeah. So like, who was like your first YouTube person? I've always wanted to talk to people about YouTubers, but I haven't.
First YouTube person. Well, actually, I can remember the first YouTube video I ever watched. So, when I was in elementary school, YouTube had just come out. Like I remember the first time I opened up the page, it was so new. Right on the front of the page, there was a woman standing in a bikini, and that would not fly nowadays. At least, like, it would fly under the radar, depending on what you get recommended to you. But
yeah,
the first YouTube video I ever watched was a point of view of, I think, one of the rides at Disneyland, which I think was Wild Mountain.
Interesting.
But the first YouTuber I remember actively following was, do you know who Force Fire 101 is?
You just triggered a memory in my head that like I totally at first when you said the name, I was like, who's that? But now he's a stop motion guy, right?
Yeah, he did all the.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I first discovered him, it was when my parents were very much like, no, you are not cursing. You're not watching anything Family Guy, South Park, anything like that. But he was just so funny to me. Like, I loved his content. Now going back, I'm like, oh, this is very childish humor. But I still think he's still working now, and he's making quality stuff. But
I mean, his stop motion was always on point.
Oh, yeah. Incredible. Yeah. And it just got better and better.
He was the one for me because I, like, had a ton of Legos. So that he helped me. Like, I always wanted to do the stop-motion videos like him. I wish I had some old ones to show you. I did an Indiana Jones versus Deadpool with full voiceover. Don't know where it is, but I remember it being the funniest, cringiest thing ever.
Huh. Nice. I think that's one of the reasons why I got into him was because I was a huge Lego fan growing up. I played Lego Star Wars. I got Lego Batman for my birthday every year, and I would build them with my mom and my brother. I have a Lego Millennium Falcon sitting right up there on my shelf, And for my 21st birthday, I got Anakin versus Obi-Wan on Mustafar.
That's awesome.
So, like, I have no problem building Legos at age 21. In fact, well, now I just lost my train of thought. But my dream thing that instantly, if I'm going to get it, if I can afford it, is the Death Star.
I have it.
Oh, you lucky duck.
So guess what? We started building it, and then halfway through it, like we missed some instruction on like the early stages, but we couldn't go forward with the set, like without having that part. And so we had to take the whole thing apart because it was buried so deep in there. Had to restart.
Man. Yeah, that's the worst, but it's a part of it.
It is. I've had to do that a lot.
I had to do that with my Millennium Falcon, I think.
Yeah, the big ones, it's always the big ones, dude. They always get you.
Yes, they do.
Indeed. I'm like, yeah, I'll still build Legos. I love Legos, man. I have a whole Lego room.
I think that's why I like putting together IKEA furniture so much. My mom was like, hey, do you want to put together this desk for me? And I'm like, where'd you get it? She said, IKEA. And I said, then yes.
What? So I've never built anything from IKEA. So can you explain it to me? Because like that, I feel like I hear that referenced a lot, but I still don't
it's furniture that you can build like right out of the box. And sometimes you might need like a screwdriver or a mallet or like a hammer or something, but essentially it comes with all the screws you need. Everything is pre-drilled, so all the holes are already there. It comes with instructions to tell you exactly how to do it. And usually, depending on what you get, there's multiple ways you can use it. Like a bed might be, like let's say you get what I had as a kid, which is a bunk bed. It could be 2 bunk beds. It could be 1. It could be 1 on the lower level and then just nothing up top. It's multi-use, essentially.
Yeah.
So you can change it up.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool. So this second part, I decided to do something special for you, Jeff, because I love you, and we both love the same things. So this is what I call speculative theories. Speculative theories. So like, here's a great starting one. Taika Waititi gets his own Star Wars movie. What are your predictions about what do you think it might be about? What are your speculative theories?
I already know it's going to be amazing because Taika Waititi is a genius. Like,
oh yeah, he's great.
Everything I've seen him do, I've yet to see Jojo Rabbit, but I love Thor Ragnarok. I love the episode of The Mandalorian he directed. He's very funny in real life. I just look forward to what I'm seeing. But
do you have Hulu by any chance?
I do have Hulu. I am using it to watch Letterkenny every now and again.
His show that he did that like got him his start, he acts in it too. It's a mockumentary about vampires. It's called What We Do in the Shadows, if you've ever seen it.
I've heard about that. I should watch that.
It was like his first thing.
Ooh. But I think overall, I think it's going to be a lot of comedy, which, every now and again, it kind of gets a little irritating. Like, let it just be serious for a moment. But,
yeah,
it's still good comedy. Like, it makes me chuckle. It's just every now and again, I'm like, just be a little bit more serious. All of his jokes land. That's just because he's a very talented man.
Yeah, I mean, Jojo Rabbit you'll like. Okay, Jojo Rabbit, if you feel that way about him comedically, there are definitely some parts where you're going to be like, really? Like, that just feels like you're doing too much. And then there are going to be other parts where you're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know Taika could direct this type of thing. Yeah.
But if Nazis die in it, I'm totally going to watch it. It's one of the reasons why I like Inglourious Basterds so much.
And Sam Rockwell plays a Nazi.
Justin Rockwell.
Hammer. Justin Hammer. The best Marvel villain, in my opinion.
I mean, he was all right.
Okay, he's the most enjoyable one, at least.
I got nothing against him, but personally, I think my favorite Marvel, which it's a tie between 2 that are pretty controversial. Number 1, I actually kind of like Ronan because he's just menacing and cartoon-like, and I really appreciated that. Yeah. And then number 2, I loved James Spader as Ultron. I loved his Ultron because I'm such a big fan of the Blacklist, and his performance was just spot on.
His voice was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I even remember people before, there was even talk of an Avengers 2. They were like, if they do Ultron in Marvel, it's got to be James Spader. Like, there's no one who's better for that.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, yeah, it's how I feel about Willem Dafoe. I don't think there's ever going to be a better Green Goblin than Willem Dafoe.
Oh, yeah.
There's one person. Bill Skarsgård, actually.
I was actually thinking that, like, I've been saying that I think if they want to recast Joker, they could use Bill Skarsgård, but I feel like he'd be better as the Green Goblin.
Yeah, because if you've seen some of his other stuff, like when he's not Pennywise, he's a good actor, but he's also great at being, like, really off the walls, like, skin-curling creepy.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, and that's how Dafoe was. Like, Dafoe was perfect at being like, oh, the guy at Thanksgiving who gives your aunt pie or whatever.
But still has corny one-liners like, I can't think of any.
The trolley of the girls, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Why is it always like that, though? I feel like in Spider-Man movies, it's always like, you can either save all the people, or you could save your girlfriend, Peter.
Oh, it was directed by Sam Raimi, the guy who had, like, the goofiest run of movies ever, including the Evil Dead movies.
Okay, so is Evil Dead, like, great? Because the first one's on Netflix.
All right. So let me warn you for the Evil Dead. There are 3 movies that I've seen in my life that has legitimately disturbed me. A Clockwork Orange, The Mist, and The Evil Dead. But that was the first time I watched them. After I watched A Clockwork Orange a couple times, I was able to be like, okay, I can handle this and I can appreciate it more. The Mist I only saw once, but I was very screwed up from it. But The Evil Dead's just a dark movie. Like, it's very dark. It was
kind of funny.
It's the only NC-17 movie that I've seen. The first one is a little funny, but not. The comedy starts coming in the second movie, The Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness comes around. It's just a straight up comedy. Like, there's maybe 3 horror movie aspects to it.
So the third one's the best one?
I would say the Army of Darkness is the one I enjoyed the most.
Well, yeah. That makes sense. Would you ever want to see a Star Wars zombie movie?
No, but I had an idea for like a Disney Plus Star Wars show that I feel like could work, but you'd probably need to push the limits a little bit. It's imagine like a Star Wars story that's kind of reminiscent of Inglourious Bastards, but imagine like there were a ton of neutral planets in that series during the Clone Wars who were like, nope, we're not picking a side, we're just staying independent. But usually they were persuaded or they were just invaded. So I'm thinking one planet says no to both the Republic and the Separatists, and the Republic's like, okay, you know what? They've been independent for all the time, but the Separatists are like, nope. And so they invade the planet and they do a bunch of horrible things. So a couple of the locals organize like a ragtag militia, and they start causing mayhem, as in same way the Inglourious Bastards did.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'd be cool.
It would be really cool to see.
It would. And you wouldn't have to push too much limits for a Star Wars movie. The only thing you would have to do is really, like, I guess no lightsabers, but you could even milk that even more and have like Darth Maul make a cameo or something. Well, and then watch people go crazy.
I may or may not have a couple of ideas for who can come in later if the show is successful.
You do. That would be sick. Honestly, I'm telling you, that would be really cool.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give too much detail on here because I don't want anyone to steal my idea.
Yeah, Jon Favreau, if you're listening.
Oh, Jon Favreau, I'd be okay with him stealing my idea. Man's a legend.
I can't believe they're already making, like, they've already filmed, I think, all of Mandalorian Season 2, and they made a whole making of documentary about Season 1.
Yeah.
Like, geez. Like, okay, the devil works hard, but Disney works harder.
Mm. Yeah, but I still hate the sequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah, me too.
which I've ranted about on more than one occasion, so I don't need to do it here.
Yeah, you know I've ranted about it. I think you've witnessed my rants. I don't need to.
That's kind of one of the things that we were bonding with when we first started talking. Like, hey, sequels suck, right? And you're like, yep.
Yeah. We don't need to get into that though. Let's just think about the prequels. A simpler time.
Oh yeah. Oh, we haven't really talked about the real elephant in the room. What did you think of the ending of the Clone Wars?
Chills. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't really know how to describe it.
I
It's surreal.
the way I describe it was the final season going into it, I had doubts, but I also had hopes. Like, because it was Dave Filoni. He was coming back. He's an amazing visionary. He knows how to tell very good stories. And then the first episode comes around. All my doubts are gone. I am in love with what's happening. And the whole Bad Batch story goes on, and I enjoy every second of it. And then the sister episodes come with Ahsoka, and it kind of takes a little bit of a dip, but I'm still hopeful because I don't think these are terrible characters. It's just, and I'd like to see where the story is going. And then the story goes nowhere interesting, and it just takes a dive. And so I'm kind of like, all right, now I got the doubts back. Final 4 episodes better be stellar. But then they skyrocketed my expectations, and within the first 3 seconds of the 3 seconds, just the opening of the first of the 4, all my doubts went away. I was just like, nope, Dave Filoni's gonna stick the landing.
The Siege of Mandalore, that was a great arc.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of hoping we would get to hear all of our favorite, I have the high ground, and, get to see that. We didn't, and I get why, but I was hoping.
I mean, maybe that's coming later, but I feel like for now, like the Clone Wars is done. We've ended on a high note, and the only way that it would come back is if Disney gets greedy, which is very likely.
It can happen, and trust me, they're losing plenty of money with theaters not being open and their parks not being open. So.
Oh yeah, I think one of my favorite. I shared this on Meme Time. Was like there was a picture where it was like Disney is reportedly losing $30 million a day. And it was the clip from Zach and Cody like, "Way to go, guys! Let's shoot for 40."
Oh, I saw that one. That was great.
Oh man.
I was happy. I was like, I just need Disney to have a reality check of like,
yeah,
okay, we're big, but
we're not invincible.
We're not invincible. Exactly. It's not like no one can touch us.
Yeah. Also,
yeah,
I'm sitting here bashing their stuff, and I have a big Han Solo poster behind me,
which is the biggest Disney. I mean, I actually liked Solo.
Yeah.
So but it was obviously the biggest Disney cash grab out of all of them.
Which it didn't even work because they lost money on it.
I actually liked it though. That's what I was so sad about. Is I think if that came out and there wasn't as much Star Wars fatigue as there was at the time,
this should have been big. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker should have tanked.
Yeah, the fact that those two did financially well. I mean, specifically Rise of Skywalker, that shocks me.
Here we are. We were just saying, like, let's avoid talking about the sequels, and here we are shitting on the sequels.
Well. Oh, and where did that bring you? Back to me. The sequel series. And where did that bring you?
Also, there's another thing Disney should just stop with. You quit while you're ahead. Stop making Marvel stuff. Just Endgame happened. We got our conclusion. Just end it. End it on a high note.
It's going nowhere good. And there's one thing I will say I'm excited for. WandaVision. Because I think it's really going to push, based on everything I've seen, it's given me no reason to not believe it's going to be this trippy, mind-bending journey, that really actually explores the powers of Scarlet Witch. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting for me.
Should be interesting.
Everything else I've seen looks like it's the same Marvel thing we see every time a new Marvel thing comes out.
Right.
Except
all right. So now that we've kind of talked about that, what's your next specula theory thing?
Oh yeah, next specula theory. Let's get right into it. All right. What do you think is this one's kind of dumb.
No, it's okay.
Interesting. It's a thinker. It's going to make you think.
Ooh,
So
I
we've
like
had
doing
comic books. So a lot of people would argue it goes westerns, gangster movies, Star Wars movies, somewhere in between that,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean Star Wars movies, and then superhero movies and like sci-fi movies.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? What's the next thing?
Well, something I think is kind of making a comeback is more, I don't want to say stylistic films, especially with comic book movies, but I think because streaming is becoming so popular, which is why like someone like me has job security, but because that's becoming so expansive and so popular, we're going to see a ton of crazy new things. We're going to see a ton of unoriginal things, but
There's
something
gonna be
I
little
really
nuggets.
I
Little
think
nuggets.
I think we're going to see this isn't like a style of film, but I think because because DC is kind of getting their act together and they're realizing like we're trying to play catch up and we're trying to do everything the way Marvel did. Let's just do what we're best at. Because they're kind of figuring that out, I think we're going to get some really good DC movies soon.
I'm
Like
hoping.
we just got Joker, which was a masterpiece. We got Shazam, which was a very fun time. Wonder Woman, one of the best superhero female-led movies ever made, period.
There's not a lot of the female-led ones, but I will say it's one of the better superhero movies.
Yeah. It's definitely the best female-led one, and it's one of the better superhero movies.
Yeah. I mean, that scene that's now called No Man's Land is possibly the coolest fight scene I think I've ever seen. It's insane.
There's no topping that.
Yeah.
You get chills because it's awesome. Ooh, I totally forgot. Aquaman. Total fun
Aquaman
time.
was good.
Yeah. It wasn't.
There were some points where I was like, this just kind of feels like underwater Thor, but
Yeah.
skinny, pale brother who wants to be the king.
You don't got to sell me
Who
on
has
that.
a
I totally
special
agree
connection to mom. I'm gonna pretend I don't see it, but I do.
Yeah. Well, also every time Amber Heard's on screen, we're like, you B word.
Yeah, there's some people who are still defending her, and it's just
right,
hypocritical. Yeah,
we won't get into that.
Yeah, politics maybe aren't the best thing for speculative theories.
No.
So for me personally, I think the next big thing, and like kind of like thinking about it, is gonna be, and this is so sad that this is gonna be like what our kids are gonna be like loving, is it's gonna be like just reboots.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all the old. It's gonna be like a lot of the old things, but they're all gonna be retooled. So if you've seen, trying to think of a good example of this. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't know. I think they're releasing this new movie. I can't remember. It's this movie from the 80s. Oh, here you go. Romeo and Juliet, the one Leo DiCaprio was in. That was the same story of Romeo and Juliet, and they took, the essence of the story and the, everything that happened to that story, but it wasn't,
I mean, that's what they did with Romeo and Juliet, but that was at least interesting because there was a funny spin on it. It was different.
I just wish we could go back. I just wish more people would see what Joker did. And even though Joker's not necessarily, I don't think I'm as big of a Joker fan as like a lot of people are. I think Joker did something that I've been waiting for superhero films to do for a long time, which is actually try and say something with the platform they're given.
Well, I kind of got to disagree with you on that, which is like, if you make your movie specifically to deliver a message, like that is the purpose, that's extremely risky. Because like there's movies that can pull it off, like V for Vendetta, Joker, obviously, Get Out. Like there's so many movies that do it well, but that's because they put the story first and the message second. But then there's movies that just try to deliver a message that it just doesn't work. or it's just not naturally woven into the plot, so it doesn't work as well. But the best way you can put a message into your story is if it's not the main reason for the story, if you just want to sneak it in there, weave it into the plot in a way that makes people have to think about it. And
I mean, yeah, but it's also, I mean, I think I said what I was saying wrong, because what I meant is more like, you know how, and I'm not saying I'm a better writer than the people DC has. You know how in the Superman story I told you about, like it's not about him just being Superman. It's about him going through the pressures of, kind of a commentary on what child stardom is like today and how Hollywood and popular media is they have a tendency to push children way too far and ruin their lives.
Oh, for sure.
But you could do something. I mean, like, you have characters with a lot of depth. And it was shown in Joker that you can use those characters not only to send a message, but they're really interesting, smaller emotional stories. I want to start seeing more of the emotional sides of superheroes. Like not the emotional side they thought we wanted in Batman versus Superman.
I mean, there's some movies that definitely can pull off the emotional side better, but then there's other sides where it's just the better aspects of it are what we don't know. Like I can think of the two examples that I'm thinking of for both Batman and Joker. In Batman 1989, one of the cool things about that is we don't know a lot about him because he doesn't talk a lot about why he does it. He just kind of explains it in a couple lines. He suppresses all his emotions so that he just carries all the pain like everything else he's dealing with. And that just leads for a much more, for me, it's just a much better character because it's someone who's like, I'm taking the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm not going to drop this on anyone else. And then for the Joker, in The Dark Knight, when we have no idea what his backstory is, we just focus on the fact that he's a megalomaniac. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
No, I actually totally agree. And I think, what I realized while you're saying that is that, different things fit different movies. Like, I would never in a million years go up to Thor Ragnarok and be like, Taika, can you add a scene where Thor has a sad moment alone? Like he just cries by himself. It's really emotional, raw moment. Like there's never any time I would ever say that, because I think Thor Ragnarok doesn't need emotion. It's funny. It's exactly the movie it's supposed to be.
Right.
But like movies like Captain Marvel, I don't know what that movie needs, but it's lacking.
That movie needs is a better story and
a less confusing story too.
It was, say what you want about Brie Larson. I think she's horrible. I don't think she was terrible as Captain Marvel. I just hated that Captain Marvel was just like, this is going to be a girl power movie, but it's not going to be as good as Wonder Woman. It's going to be more focused on the agenda aspects than the ass-kicking aspects.
Yeah. And also in Wonder Woman, she was this, she was a person, she wasn't cocky, she was nice, she was, I'm not saying, people can't be arrogant, because I know some people were like, oh, everyone's complaining that, Captain Marvel is being snarky, but, Iron Man is snarky all the time. And to that I say, good point. But also she was in the military.
Right.
She's been a soldier. She's not going to be snarky or be saying she's the best or be shooting a laser at a jukebox in a crowded dining room on a foreign planet. Like, she's a soldier.
Well, I mean, the way that my friend Amara described it the best, and she wrote an entire paper on this, she was like, think about it this way. In Wonder Woman, you could not make that story work if the main character was a male superhero, because it was in the, 1914 or whatever, when being a woman in war was very much not encouraged. And even when she walked into a room with a bunch of men, they're like, oh, woman in here? It makes sense because it was at the time. Whereas in Captain Marvel, you could swap her out with a male superhero like Thor or Iron Man or Captain America or whoever, and it would be the exact same story. That's why it doesn't work as a girl power movie. Or
Lenny, although I can think of plenty of recent Marvel movies where you could just swap out any of insert hero name here and, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the Spider-Man movies, and I don't know how you feel about the recent Spider-Man movies.
I like them.
I really liked Homecoming. Far From Home, the Mysterio illusion scene was, I think, one of the coolest visual things Marvel's have ever done. And one of the most comic accurate.
Oh, yeah.
But besides that, I wasn't a huge fan because I feel like you could put any other character for Peter, and I know you could argue and say, oh, well, what about his high school classmates? That's just extra runtime you can fill with any other interchangeable group of quirky Marvel side characters.
Yeah.
Everyone has a cast of side characters like that. You know, like
that's something you could make an entire video on, honestly. You could explain why it was like why Spider-Man Homecoming, it didn't matter if he was a kid or not.
No, I actually think Spider-Man Homecoming it did.
I meant Far From Home.
Oh, yeah. Like, Spider-Man Homecoming, one of the reasons it worked is it also did a lot of things that really just shocked you. Mm-hmm. So that you couldn't really walk out and be like, oh, well, that movie didn't surprise me at all, so it's bad. Yeah. Like, I mean, when you saw when Vulture was Liz's father, that was
we just spoiled it for everyone. Well, at this point, if they haven't
seen the Spider-Man movie that came out in 2016,
at this point, if you haven't seen it, like, that's just on you.
Yeah, I won't spoil Far From Home for you because I would understand if you haven't seen that yet still for some reason, but I will spoil a movie that came out in 2015.
Right.
All right, so we've almost been on like for, you know, my max runtime. So how about we do this speed round? Are you ready for this?
All right, speed round.
Speed round. It's not super okay. So I confuse people a lot with the speed round, and you're gonna think this is very, very dumb. So the speed round is called the speed round because I came up with the questions in 5 minutes. So you have as much time as you want to answer these questions.
I'm gonna try to do it in one sentence or less, just to keep it interesting.
Oh, boom. Okay. Ready? You ready, right. Jeff? You ready?
I don't know if I am, but let's do it anyway.
All right. Speed round. Here we go. You can only listen to one musical. Actually, I'll change this one up to you. You can only listen or watch one artist or director for the rest of your life. Who is it?
Just because he makes music and videos, I would say Danny Avedon, who's the lead singer of Ninja Sex Party and co-host of Game Grumps.
Okay, that's actually pretty
very good. Funny man. And if I can only listen to music or shows or anything by one guy, I'm gonna pick him.
This is the Cool Patrol Day.
That's my favorite song.
I love that song. All right, speed round. Sorry.
Okay.
Favorite clothing brand?
I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. You're probably gonna have to bleep that out for YouTube. I don't know. I just wear the same. I just wear the same thing every day: jeans and a band T-shirt. I guess Hot Topic.
Hot Topic.
I guess Hot Topic because they have all the bands I like.
Yeah, I haven't been to a Hot Topic in a minute. I gotta go.
You haven't been to a Hot Topic in a hot minute.
If your life was a movie, what would the title of that movie be?
Poor Bastard. Or probably something like you know what? It'd be interesting if they called it Sic Parvis Magna.
That's like your whole thing, so yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing it's words around my neck every day.
Exactly. I love the Uncharted games.
Who doesn't? Well, I mean, a lot of
people. Do you have it on PS4?
Yes, I do. I got my PS4 sitting right there.
So there's a chance I get my PlayStation Online back. So if I get it, because I have a gift card, it may or may not work. I'm not sure. I just found it.
My internet may or may not work on there.
So I'm going to, if I can, get it set up. I want to play some Uncharted Online with you for sure. I'm a Sully. Sully's my guy, bro.
Oh, I got to fight you for that. I play as Sully.
I have the sunglasses and everything.
Fine. I'll be Nate.
You have more of a Nate. You have more of a Nate vibe.
I have his bracelet and ring on. Of course I should be Nate.
All right. What is your
Speed
favorite
round.
word?
My favorite word?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can think of my favorite curse word, but it'd probably take too long to think of my favorite word.
You could say your favorite curse word depending
My
on what
favorite,
it is.
well, my favorite curse word is bastard, just because it's fun to say. I don't use it as much as I should, but it's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Okay. Your answers have so far been the best, and don't tell Stixie617 that. But your
I
answers
won't.
have so far been great.
You hear that, 6617? My answers are cooler than yours.
If you could be anyone else for a day, who would it be?
John Krasinski.
Really? Why?
Well, he's a lad. Like, he's made of terrific things. He's obviously very funny. He's got a wife. He's got some kids. I don't know how many, but he seems like he has a really good life. So I feel like it'd be very interesting to kind of see the world the way he sees it for a day. Either that, or I'd love to see, like, I'd have to go back in time, obviously, but I'd love to relive one of the Stanley Kubrick days.
Wow.
That'd be fun.
Dude, he scares me. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, he scares everyone.
Have you
Especially
seen
Shelley
what
Duvall.
happened to Shelley Duvall after?
Yeah, it's no joke.
Did you see her on the Dr. Phil interview?
I did. She was
Oh
like,
my
poor
God.
Shelley.
Insane. Ugh. Dude, that sucks so much.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ugh, can't believe that. Like that. I mean, for people who don't know, go look it up on YouTube because just the
Be
sheer
warned.
of like, it's really sad.
It is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Almost there.
All right.
I have my own personal fan cast for this, but who would you cast in a movie or TV show to play you?
Uh, well, it's got to be someone younger than me.
It can
The
be
guy
any.
who
It can
plays
be.
do you know who I do? The guy who plays Eddie in the first It movie, and he was what's his name in Shazam. I'd be over the moon if he played me.
Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Jack Dylan Grazer.
Mhm.
Dude's hilarious.
Yeah. The only person who I could ever see is you, and I don't know if it's because you love Ash vs. the Evil Dead, but the only person, and I've seen him at a panel, with the comedic chops and the voice and everything to be you, is Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell is way older than me.
No, I know. I'm saying like in our ideal world, if we could get like a young Bruce Campbell, he'd be perfect.
Oh, well, then I'd pick someone like Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, Jim. How could I? Oh yeah, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Then.
But Bruce Campbell would also be pretty cool. Except
Yeah.
I'm not nearly as charming as him.
Ah, don't do yourself dirty, Jeff. All right. What fictional character do you most identify with?
Sam Winchester from Supernatural.
How far are you on that show, by the way?
I am almost done with season 5. Which, by the way, that's the joke I have. Like, I make all these passion project TikToks and they get like 30 or so likes, but I make one Supernatural TikTok.
Blows up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That happens, dude. That happened to me too. Do you remember like the Star Wars, the lightsaber video? I put all this effort in all these other videos, and that Star Wars lightsaber video is the only thing I had actually like blow up.
Well, that's what happens, and that's because TikTok has a stupid algorithm.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least.
Okay.
30 seconds of knowledge. Your advice to up-and-coming creators in 30 seconds.
Listen, the world is full of enough people who just go to work every day, sit in a cubicle for 8 hours, go home, get drunk, and do the same thing the next day. The world has so many opportunities for you. If you're not going to pursue what you want, you are wasting your life. I made the mistake of not going for what I wanted immediately, but you don't have to. If there's something you could see yourself doing and you genuinely want to do it and you think you can make a career out of it, figure out how to make it realistic, work hard towards it. It's because it's not just going to be given to you, and go for it. It's easy to say just go for it, but if you work towards it, you can make it possible. If you have the mindset that your parents or your counselors or everyone around you is telling you where it's, it's 1 in a million shot, then you're not going to succeed. The number one way you're going to get yourself just in a failure state is if you have the failure mindset. But if you think you can make it work, go for it. That's as simple as it goes. There's no excuse for you just sitting on your ass doing nothing. There's none. Because maybe it's a risk, but if you're successful, you're going to be saying the same thing to your kids one day.
A little over 30 seconds, but that was incredible advice.
No, that's just something I wish I would tell my younger self.
What do you wish you started earlier on?
Well, I mean, just filmmaking, because I always thought, this isn't a realistic career. I need to figure something else out. So I decided, all right, law enforcement. But 1 semester into college, and I hated it. I wasn't even taking any like law enforcement classes, but I knew, like, if this is what I have to do to get here, it's not worth it. But then I took a chance and I switched to filmmaking, and even the classes that I didn't like, I was able to get through them just like that because I knew what I was going for. That was the motivation for me.
I mean, hey man, I'm honestly just like, I'm just happy, to see you doing well, because I mean, and that's really like a weird thing to say, but like when I like even just first got in contact with you, you've grown just so much as a creator. Like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. And whenever you get to see someone, especially someone you like, grow, that's like the coolest thing in the entire world. And dude, I love you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm
Mutual
sorry
love for you,
about
brother.
I'm sorry about all the stuff earlier. With
Pish posh. It happens. It always happens.
We got it. We did it now, though. We did it.
We did it.
We made it to the end.
I finally got on the podcast.
You did. And meme time.
Oh yeah, meme time.
That's our little end credits teaser right there. That's all you get.
Yeah.
It's meme time.